The true fundamentals of the golf swing really start with the grip. So today we're going to just talk about how to hold the club. There's some preferences in this, but basically whatever your hands do, this is the number one principle of the golf swing, whatever your hands do, that operates the direction of a golf ball because that operates this end of the club, which is the biggest influence on the direction of a golf ball. So your grip at this end becomes exceptionally important. So it's like driving the car. You got to understand that the steering wheel makes it turn right or left. So we want to understand that the leading edge, when it's perpendicular to the ground, that's called a square club face. When it's turned one way, in this case to the right, that'd be open, that way it'd be closed. So there's 1 degree of square, there's 89 degrees of open, and there's 89 degrees of closed. So that, again, as I said, the number one principle of the golf swing is whatever your hands do, that operates the direction of a golf ball, and that has probably 90% influence over where the golf ball goes. So understanding the grip and having a good, efficient grip will make the golf swing much easier. So most people put the club on the ground and put their hands on the club there. Golf professionals, good amateurs, really pick the club up in the air and they're getting the leading edge square to the ground, or perpendicular to the ground as we call it. So what they do first is they'll put the leading edge up, in this case our arrow, and then they're going to put their left hand in. Now the biggest thing is that the biggest error in the golf swing is people get it up in their palm, then your thumb will look long, and that's what we don't want. You'll have to squeeze it much tighter, and you can see my knuckles look like they're kind of white knuckling it. That's what we don't want. So you want to make sure that when you do this, it's 45 degrees, the shaft, to my belt buckle. And again, I want to make sure I put it across my fingers so it's diagonal, like I'm shaking hand with someone. So I first took my fingers, then I set my thumb down, so now it's over my index finger, and this is called opposition. This is why we're human beings, is because now my thumb opposes the knuckle of my index finger. The pad of the hand is up on the end of it, and it'll look like I'm off the end of it, but this is part of my hand right here. All right, that's hand number one. Hand number two, and in this case my right hand, again this hand will have 3 parts. The biggest thing is not to get it in the palm, because then you're going to be white knuckling it again. So again, it's across my fingers, diagonal. I hook my fingers, okay, like little fish hooks. Then I set my wrist down so that the lifeline of my hand goes right over the top, not over, but down under my thumb. And then I set the tip of my thumb over the tip of my index finger, and then they are called opposition. So my thumb now opposes the tip of my index finger, and it'll look like the V, or sometimes what we call the cleavage right there. So this hand has 3 parts. We call hooking your fingers fish hooks. Then this is the hot dog and the buns. So I set my wrist down, not over, down, and set the tip of my thumb over the tip of my index finger. So now my thumb looks kind of like a ski jump, not like a mogul. So you're pinching those two, so it's called opposition. So again, if you have it in your fingers, you will have the appropriate pressure. If you find that you're squeezing it too tight, it's up in your palm, and then we need to start over. So remember, the grip is the number one first principle of the golf swing. If you have an efficient grip, we will then have control over the club head, which is then 90% of the direction of a golf ball. So let's get a good grip on it. And remember, as I always say, keep your head up. It's all in the attitude, and we promise your scores will come down.